On March 27th, our team set out to Xeo Guatemala for the week of spring break. Along the way, we were met with the unexpected. We experienced delays and waiting and more delays. We traveled and slept at odd times in odd places. But in the end, we were met with God's faithfulness to do the work that He had planned, not just through us, but in us as well. What we saw and experienced along the way was beautiful, humbling, and at times breathtaking. This is Xeo.
Also, I want to thank you for the effort you did leaving your house and family to visit us and the community.
All right. Yay. Well, thanks for being willing to go. This is our Xeo team here that you saw in the video. If everybody can scooch in there. Yeah, it's tight quarters. Well, I'm James, the student ministries pastor, and I was also part of the team, and this is my friend over here.
Yeah, I'm Lacey. I get to help.
Is it on?
No.
There it is.
Nothing,
You're good.
Okay, I'm Lacey. I help lead some of these trips and got to go with this amazing team.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is for the next few minutes is just share a little bit about our experience. And so, I'll start first. Here's the deal. We had this trip where we had all these plans, and it was just all dialed in. We're going to go to the airport and go directly to Xeo. Well, we ran into a few speed bumps, as we talked about in the video. We had a little extra at the front end. So we spent about 70 additional hours of traveling and getting to Xeo, a 5-hour layover in Portland before we even left, a little delay, and we ended up spending the night in Dallas the first night, and then an additional night in Dallas before we were on our way to Xeo, and we got there. The question I have for a couple of you first is this: all of this unexpected stuff happened, and it may have seemed like a negative or a disadvantage. How did you see God using that and turning it around for good? Daniel, I'll let you go first. How about that?
Well, despite all the hard times we had in Portland and then in Dallas, we've all felt kind of bad about, raising up all this money to go to Xeo, but then that didn't happen the full time. But in my eyes, I think I've seen that we've all been a blessing to everyone that we've come across, whether that's in America, whether that's in Guatemala. But I'd say that we've all just made it through, and I'm not surprised that we've all kept our cool while all this bad stuff has happened. And I mean, I'm just happy that we're all here, we're all safe, and that we've all just kept our cool and just eventually got to Xeo, and we're, it's been a blessing that we were all friendly towards the people that we've all met.
Excellent. Right behind you. Jordan? Same question.
Well, yeah, we all expected to go straight there, and we got delayed. But, Lacey, Laney, and James took control and just talked to the airlines, got everything straightened out. We got, we had a place to stay. We didn't know, why we were delayed, but along the way we got to tell different people where we were going that we wouldn't have if, everything went according to plan. At the hotel, Lacey went up to talk to the receptionist, and she was complaining that her back was hurting, and we stopped and we prayed for her that her back would, feel better, and I think it did by the time we left, and, everything had a plan and a purpose, so.
All right, and Michael, same question.
Oh, yeah, I was praising the Lord for our first delay, not very long after we got off the plane, because we did find out it was a fuel pump issue. Thank God they found it on the ground and not in the air. So we had so many opportunities to bond as a team that we would not have had. Those 5 hours in the airport, it didn't take long for us to gather as a group in a circle praying for God's miraculous healing and of all of our could have been negative attitudes, but just a wonderful experience in all, even through the delays. And like Jordan said, we were able to tell so many people about why we're here and we're delayed and we're on a mission trip. So, and everybody was really excited to hear that and happy for us. Yes, Lacey and Laney did. I mean, they had 3 hours or better on the phone straight, trying to get all the details worked out, and praise God, it worked out.
Yes. Well, thanks, guys. Our 24 hours of travel turned into, what'd you count up, Bob, at 76 hours of travel. So we, in that time, got to really bond and connect as a group and walked into Xeo out of those pickup trucks just ready to hit the ground running because we knew that our time was shortened. And so we didn't know what to expect, but we pulled into the village around 2 p.m. and almost immediately went to the school to put on a VBS. A few hours before that, we didn't even know if we'd have our bag that had all our stuff for VBS. So it was kind of a miracle in that way. So our question for you guys, what was putting on that first VBS like, and what were the kids like? So we'll start with Owen.
Starting with me.
Yeah.
What was it like? Well, we got there and all the kids just jumped in and started unloading our bags for us, which was so kind of weird, but it was first like cultural shock, like, oh, the kids are being super, super helpful. and so then we go down to the school, and it's a really, really cute little school, and I really like the layout inside of it, all the desks, and all the desks are like doll-sized desks. No. But it was nerve-wracking because I hadn't really met anybody yet and hadn't really gotten a chance to see the kids yet. And so the first time that we were talking to them, like introducing the game, I think, it was like, oh, is this really going to work out? Because I was listening to the game plan and I was like, I don't know if the kids are going to understand what's going to happen, and there's not enough time to change the game. And so that was nerve-wracking, but James ended up doing an amazing job. So they loved him. That was awesome. And then came for my part, and Will and Daniel, we did the song. And when we were up there, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I was like, so then thankfully we had this amazing interpreter, the Ishiel, she translated to Ishiel, the native language. She did an amazing job getting motions for the words. Sorry, I couldn't think of what to say. Motions for the words. We hadn't really had a plan of like what to do for like Este Ludacito, which is this little light of mine. We're like, we kind of want to raise our hands a little bit like this little light of mine, but she ended up like having all the kids look at her and do all these motions for all the words, which was super helpful for us. Took a little load off our shoulders. And so, yeah, it was nerve-wracking, but ended up being really good. The crafts were fun, and yeah, I think the kids had a great time, even though we were kind of stressed. So
Excellent. Thanks, Owen. Hey, there's Charisse or Natalie, whoever wants to go.
Yeah, it was amazing. I am a planner, and so I am like, this is exactly how we're gonna do it, and it's gonna go amazing. And then we walk in, and I'm like, all right, we can't do all these crafts because we only have like an hour. So just the abilities of the team to quickly move and adjust. And I'm like telling people like, you need to go here and you need to go here. And they're like, all right, wherever you want me to go. And so just the heart of the whole team being there to support and play with the kids. James's game, like the game, we explained the game and then it didn't go the way that we'd explained it, but it was great because you see all of these kids like shifting behind James, and I'm over setting up and I look over and they are just dying laughing as they're like, basically they're just like little ducklings following James around, and it was the best thing ever.
It worked out.
It worked out. Yeah. And Natalie, do you want to?
Okay, so let me think. Sorry. So we had so much trouble, and we had to like go in these like trucks, and it was so hot, and I was like in between my dad and Owen, like sweaty legs, and I don't know, but we got there, and everybody was so cute. All the little children, they were like coming and helping us with our bags, and they were like laughing at us, and I'm like, I don't know what they're laughing about, but it was funny. And we got to the VBS, and I was kind of nervous because I had no idea what we were doing, and I'm like, what is going on? But we ended up doing it, and I think the kids had a good time. They were like laughing, like they would like come up and like hold my hands. I'm like, oh, this is so cute. But I don't know. I think it was like good to go right into that because it like helped me like get to know the little children. And yeah, I think that was just like a good way to start the trip.
Awesome. Thanks, Natalie. That's great. In the ministry of allowing children to braid your hair, you were queen of that because it was awesome. Yeah, they loved Natalie in particular. So we went into this VBS, and basically every situation that we went into, there was this two-step process of translation. You start out in English, then it goes to Spanish, then it goes to Ixil. Am I saying it right? Ixil. And it was just this big language barrier that maybe felt bigger than you may have anticipated if you haven't experienced this before. So the question for you guys is this: how was that language barrier, and how big did it really feel after all once you got used to it? And so the first person I'll have answer that is Will. Will, here you go.
Yeah, having the translators, that was the easy part. Playing with the kids and stuff, like you didn't have an interpreter there with you at all times. So you're trying to, play soccer, explain games to these kids, and they don't understand what you're saying at all. And they speak a little bit of Spanish, not a whole lot, because like Ixil is their primary language. But I do not speak Spanish. I have a preschool reading level, or Spanish level, because, yeah, both.
Public education system, man.
Yeah, but so, it was just like, tu quiere and stuff like that. Just the really, really small, simple stuff that, it was not easy to communicate, but it was effective. And honestly, I was able to, even just body language and motioning out things with the kids. It seemed like it should have been harder than it was, but plus the kids are all a joy, and really, you say something dumb and they'll just giggle at you anyways. And yeah, they were great. And yeah.
Me? Oh, I'm going again. Let's go. So kind of bouncing off what you said about what was it? Moving, the motion, having to use your body length. What did I say? Oh, cool. I'm just funny without trying. That's okay. So, we tried teaching him. I don't know if you guys know this game, Ninja. It's where you have to do the one motion. We taught one of them how to play Ninja through strictly hand motions. We clasped our hands and ready. We're gonna jump out and then go like this, and then they followed, and then we do the ninja thing, and it actually worked out really great. We ended up having a couple kids with us playing Ninja. They were just kind of going wild, but I mean it was fun. They were winning the entire time. It was awesome. I mean they really enjoyed it. But during the VBS is when we mainly had to have that three translations or whatever, and I think that was, for the first time we did it, a little bit strange. We kept kind of talking a little bit too much, and then they had to translate a little bit too much and then try to summarize a little bit. But as time went on, I started not to really notice it as much. Like, it was a lot easier to communicate, not just, it was pretty good. I didn't feel stressed about it after the first day, I'd say. But definitely that first day was a little bit, but yeah.
Great.
Different
Well,
world.
for many of us, like you mentioned, one of the most powerful experiences was the home visits. So can you describe, we'll start with Daniel, can you describe what that was like at the home visits and what made it so powerful?
Well, the home visits, I remember, I forgot who was part of our team when we went to the houses. I remember one time where we had given a sponsored child some gifts, and some of those gifts were rock candy, the pop, things that go in your mouth. Oh my goodness, that was so fun to watch. The little girl, like, she was like trying to try it out, and then she put it in her mouth, and it started popping, and she was like, and then her mom tries some, and she's like, and I found it really funny because, well, not like in a bad way, but like I'd never seen, like, well, in America, I'm always used to, seeing people, try these kind of things. And, like, I would eat Pop Rocks, like, just the same as, like, anyone else would. But they're, like, so excited to see, like, the gifts that we've given them. But not just that, they've also given us a tour of their houses. And the most important thing is they given us their testimonies about, well, how their life was like in Xeo ever since was it a mudslide? Mudslide, yeah, which was very hard on some of them. When we were walking around Xeo, we seen some destroyed houses that were being built. Luckily, no one was hurt in that situation, but we've got to hear what they had to say about how life is and how their life is now with that they're having clean water to drink instead of disease-ridden water, which to me is a huge blessing that we get to do that and that they have clean water.
You want to hand that one to Jen? Jen, same question.
Well, home visits, and I think you can understand this here as well, home visits are an incredibly personal thing, and I think that also translates across different communities. And so being invited into homes was just incredibly powerful. You're there, you're seeing their homes, their living situations, where they sleep, how they cook, how they spend their time. And so it was just really a personal experience. And then getting to put a face to children that we've been discussing for years here and seeing videos and pictures of, and getting to meet my sponsored child after a year plus of writing and drawing and being, pen pals, but getting to actually put a face to that little girl and seeing her smile, just getting some hair clips and some colors, and she instantly wanted to draw me a picture, and so I have that with me, and so it was incredible. And also the fact that we got to come to them and meet them where they were. And the thing is, the first thing that they instantly wanted to share with us is, we don't have anything to give to you. We don't have anything to give to you, but we are so thankful you are here. We're thankful you're praying for our children and for our families and our community. We're thankful for the supplies that you have been a part of giving or sponsoring. And often they would give us what they had. And so we were given warm corn drinks and rice drinks. And while some of us were not used to eating those kinds of things, it was still, a gifting of what they had. And so just being embraced by this community was really special. And also, again, kind of despite the language barriers, we might not have understood the language of Ashiel, but what we did understand was that this community loved their children and loved their people. And it was really special to get to witness to that.
Really cool. Thanks, Jen. And they love our church. So many times they were just expressing their thanks to our church and our pastors and for us, what we're doing as we partner with them. Really cool. And that corn water was. But we did it. We drank it, didn't we, guys? Us high schoolers, I'm really proud of you. That's like a highlight for me, that our high schoolers drank their hot corn water, even the chunks at the end. It was good. but it was amazing. Yeah, you could feel the hospitality. So hey, a few other things. You know, God was at work in ways possibly that you didn't really recognize, or maybe even until retrospectively, you just go, okay, the Lord was at work in this way. I'm recognizing it now. So what are some cool ways that you saw the Lord working while you were on the trip? And then part two of this is, are there some ways that maybe once you had a chance to process it now for like a little over a week or 2 weeks, and retrospectively the Lord has maybe done something inside of you? So what is it that you saw or have seen and have experienced the Lord doing in you now? And so for Bobette, how about you go first?
Okay. I've never been on a mission before, so I was trying to think in my mind how this whole water filtration system was going to go. And so in my mind, I was thinking we were going to be putting a water filter on a plumbing system that brought water into a sink in their kitchen. And we gave them a 5-gallon bucket that they put their dirty water in, or stagnant water, whatever, leaky water. Yeah. And then it would filter into another 5-gallon bucket. And it was just on a shelf. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And we got to be a part of giving this one lady a water system. And we were done with it. And she was expressing her thanks. And she was talking in her Xeo. And she was weeping. And we're all praying. I was just listening to her. And I didn't understand what she was saying, but my spirit understood what she was saying. And I began to just be overwhelmed and praying and crying with her, really. And then I went to Lacey, amazing, wise Lacey, and I told her, I said, we need to tell her that God loves her and sees her. And she just looks at me and she smiles. Well, she goes, you can tell her that. And I'm like, what? And so we asked if we could pray, and she brought us into her home, and we all gathered around, and I did lead out prayer. And then she began to pray, her family began to pray, the team began to pray, and it became this beautiful symphony, and God just was so powerful and so moving. And that was really my true amazing God moment. And I was overwhelmed and so thankful to God that we were able to even come to a remote little town like that and village and help these people. And they're so grateful, and they're doing everything they can with the little bit that they have, and God sees them and He loves them, and He wants to help them. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Natalie or Lainey?
Yeah, so first, the way that I saw the Lord move while we were in Xeo was, everybody's kind of alluded to it. The love of God transcends language. And He was just there. Like in every interaction we had, the Lord was going before us. In every delay we had, the Lord was going before us. Like, I just saw the love of God so clearly in action as we took the steps that we didn't think we were having these steps. They went in a different way than we anticipated, but He was just in it. And these kids I'm so proud of, we got to just watch them engage fully with the love of God. And in that, we got to build relationships so quickly. We got to know our children so quickly without being able to communicate verbally. Like, it was just really, really beautiful to see just the love of God transcending the barriers that the world puts in front of us. And then coming out of it, honestly, I've been on a lot of missions trips in my life, and I was like, what am I going to learn this time, Lord? And really, what I feel like the Lord has communicated to me is, I'm like Charisse, I like to have a plan for what we're doing, especially when I'm traveling. It's to the detriment of my very go-with-the-flow best friend. But what the Lord really just taught me was that His way is not manicured. His way is not perfect. His way, in its imperfection, it is perfect, right? So in all of our delays, in all of the upset of what we thought was going to happen and didn't, he was proving that his way is so much greater than anything we could put together in our own minds. And so coming out of it, I feel like the Lord has just taught me, like, it's not always going to look beautiful. And it's not always going to be according to the plan that you thought was best, but in its imperfection, it will be perfect. And can you engage with that? And can all of us come out of that going, okay, Lord, I'm used to planning, but I want to be more malleable and more willing to step into something even when it's not according to what I thought the plan was. So.
Yeah. And, yep.
The one thing that I knew was going to happen with me was going to be a humbling experience, and but I didn't know it was going to start before we even left. We were reading the Know Before You Go 40-day devotional as a team, and when I got to the section about sponsorship, I had to check my pride and just throw it out the window because as a single income family when we were growing up, we had sponsorships for our children doing their sports and softball and such. And it's like, well, thank you, Lord, for blessing us. We don't need our sponsor because we were able to pay for it ourselves. But it wasn't about me is what God was telling me. It's not about me. There's other people that can't go but want to be part of this. So that was very humbling for me, forgive me, Lord, and I apologize to you people that I didn't reach out for sponsorship support and prayer support sooner than I did. But thank you all for your prayers and your support.
Excellent. And can we give a round of applause to these guys? You guys can head back to your chairs. And